There is so much pressure right now for rabbis to appear as if there is consensus on this issue, but Jews have never had consensus on anything. That one of the strongest Jewish values that we have is dissent. And the idea that it is somehow dangerous for Jews to dissent is the least Jewish thing I've ever heard.
President Biden! U.S. rabbis demand a ceasefire now!
Our calling for a ceasefire now was brought into the General Assembly while the U.S. is there shamefully defending their veto of a ceasefire. We were on a tour of the UN, and when they took us into the Security Council chamber, which is the chamber that's responsible for decisions of war and peace, that's where the US is using their veto, we broke into song and prayer. And the most important thing is we weren't protesting the UN, we were bringing our message to the US as they were shamefully defending a veto, preventing the protection of Palestinian civilians. We want the United Nations to be the institution that it was promised to be when it was founded. So the UN was founded in 1945 in the wake of World War II, the wake of the Nazi Holocaust, in order to ensure that nothing like that would ever happen again. What we are here to say to President Biden and to the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations is you do not speak for the Jewish community in blocking this call for ceasefire. The world wants a ceasefire. The majority of Americans want a ceasefire.
Do you think your movement will have an impact in the elections this year? Because everyone is looking on Washington. What's going to change? What's the next policy in the Middle East will be? What do you hope to achieve on this level?
We hope to tell President Biden that it's not too late for him to actually do what is right and just, and that's what will get him reelected. Is bringing about a permanent and lasting ceasefire will actually support his campaign.
It's also important for us as Jewish people not to let the narrative and not to let anyone say that this is being done for Jewish safety. And I will say personally, as an Israeli citizen and as a Jewish American, every day the war continues is a day where more and more Palestinians are killed, more and more Palestinians are injured and expelled from their homes, and more Jews are threatened and more Jews are put at risk. This is not for anyone's safety.
We know that from seeing rising anti-Semitism acts that are because people associate Jews with what Israel's doing, and that's partly because Israel tries to claim it's doing this for us, and it's not. We are not in support of that.
What we're seeing in Israel, which claims to be acting in the name of Jewish people, is actually in the name of a nation state. That is a political ideology. That is not Judaism. Zionism is not Judaism. Judaism is a robust religious tradition of many thousands of years that has been clear throughout the millennia that we are a tradition of peace, we are a tradition of life. This is a time of great moral crisis in the Jewish community, and many Jews look to their rabbis to understand how they should make sense of current events and political events.
I'm a huge fan of the praying with our feet that Rabbi Heschel used to say. There's a story in the Talmud, people coming to rabbis and complaining about bad things, and they say, "Tzeu v'hifginu b'rechovah shel ir." Go out and protest on the street. It goes back to as long as there have been Jews. We have been showing up for what's right. We have been showing up for what we believe will make the world a better place.